Welcome to our next section called gaming. So we have three different options here. There are going to be a short lesson for these sections, and let's get into these action items. The first one is game bar, controller and keyboard shortcuts. So we're going to click into here. As you can see, allow your controller to open game bar. So that's if you had a physical controller, you could use that when you're pressing the middle button to access your game bar. So this is a default option, I always leave that on. The next one is for shortcuts. To edit a game bar related shortcuts, press the Windows logo key plus G, or you can go to the Start Game Board in Settings. So I think this is a very important topic, how to access specific things using shortcuts. So we're gonna walk you step by step through that process. Now there are a lot of different shortcuts, but the one we're gonna be doing is specifically the Windows key plus the G button. So when you do that, on your bottom left side of your keyboard, you'll see 4 squares. Now you wanna click that and hold it down. And then after I'm clicking and holding that down on my keyboard, and then after you do that, then with another finger, you want to just push on the G button. And then that will bring up this game bar. As you can see here, there are a lot of options, performance, audio, a widget menu, and some settings. We're going to click into settings here. And then in settings, we have a lot of options here for different modes. We have widgets here that you can select specific audio to record. You could disable it, you could game enable mic apps and systems, game plus mic, record in the background while playing a game, so there's a bunch of options in here. We're not going to go through all these, but this is basically you can set specific things for your keyboard as well for your game controller. There's some personalization settings for themes like light, dark, your current Windows theme, and it'll kind of like match it. And then game features here, this kind of just gives you the description of things. And then if you want to give them some feedback, you can do that too, or show more diagnostic info. And that just gives you more like version stuff of what it's running on. All right, so we're done here. We're gonna click out of this. We're gonna say not now. Click out of that. By doing that, you just click out of it, and it's not in that box. And then we're going back into gaming. And the next here, we have captures, save location, recording preferences. So if you click into here, you can select what folder you wanted to set that in for your captures. Recording preferences in here. Record what happens when something cool happens in your game. Press the Windows key, the Alt key, and the G. So I don't have this because I don't do a lot of gaming on my computer. But let's say you are a gamer and that's something that you really want to do. Now, same thing as we did before, on the bottom left-hand corner of your keyboard, you would click and hold now 2 buttons. It would be that Windows 4 square button, the Alt button to the right of that, it will say ALT. So your hold, the first one is the square one, and then next hold the Alt button, and then you would do the G button. And then that will be the shortcut for that. And then you also have maximal length, set the duration for your recordings to start. And as you can see, there's different options here, 30 minutes, hour, 2 hours, 4 hours. On our next option here, caption audio and when recording a game, I always have that selected to on. And then there's also different settings you can have for data. The less data you have, the less it's going to use for resource allocation, but I just have it on the recommended settings. You can also set the recording volume and the recording volume for the system here and microphone. And the next, down below here, we have the video frame rate. So 30 FPS, this actually stands for frames per second. The less frames, the better. The more frames you have, the slower it is. So you want quick and responsive frames, so the less is the best. So that's why it's not on 60. That's why it's recommended for that. Then you also have video quality. Record higher quality video may affect the quality of your game. just because it's resource allocation, it uses more memory, PC power, RAM, all those different things. So I always have it set to standard. But if you are doing this as a profession, you are a streamer, or you play games online professionally and get them recorded and you use your computer, as long as your computer can handle it, then you would want it in the high mode, but you would limit the amount of applications that you have running so those resources get allocated to the right things for your computer. The last one is capture and cursor when recording a game. I always just keep that on because these are just the recommended settings that they have for the selection. All right, so we're going back to gaming, and our last one here is game mode. Optimize your PC for play. We're going to click into that. I always have that on just because it optimizes the PC for gameplay by turning things off in the background. So this is another resource allocation thing, so I always want that on. And then if you wanted to get into the graphics, you could do that as well. And there's some advanced options in here. You can select specific applications in here. There's advanced graphics settings. I have a GPU. I can turn that on and off for the gaming of it if I wanted to. And GPU is very nice. It's specific hardware that makes it for video recording, high performance stuff when you're doing gaming. And we're gonna go back, that was in system here. We're gonna go back into gaming, and that covers everything that we need to cover in gaming. So our next lesson, we're gonna be talking down here about accessibility, and I look forward to speaking to you guys then. Like I always say, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out, send me an email, and we'll go from there. I'll see you in the next lesson.